Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Oh, welcome back. In case you're new to my channel, what I have been doing this year is each month I'm working on part of a gift for my aunts because I decided this year, instead of frantically having to make something in like November and December, I was going to start early. And what I'm making is calendars. So each month I'm doing the image that's going to go in a calendar that's basically the top section of the calendar with the image, and then the bottom section with the actual calendar part is going to be US letter size. So that's 8.5 by 11. So I've been doing the images because I'm going to use my cinch to bind it at 8 by 10. And this month, this is what I'm going to do, is a doggy with a butterfly surrounded by a whole heck of a lot of flowers. And I think I maybe should have done the flower scaled a little larger because this is going to be very, very fiddly. But this is what we got. This is what we're going with. So I'm going to put this on top, and this is my light box. I don't know how well this is going to work, and I'm not going to do all of this on camera or we're going to be here for like 3 days. Because yeah, this part took me all morning to do pretty much. Well, not all morning, probably about 2 hours. I'm gonna make this image probably available on my Ko-fi shop for you. So let me go get what I need, which I forgot to grab, and I'll be right back. So I'm gonna use my Faber Castell watercolor pencils to sketch in, and I'm gonna use my light box, and I'm not sure how this is gonna show up on screen, so we're gonna see how much of this I can do. But I'm going to use it to sketch in all of the flowers, and then I'm going to watercolor it. So let's see how this goes. Does that show up on screen? Actually, pretty good. Okay, so I need tape. Of course, my dog, I think, wants it. Nope, he's settling down outside. All right. I'm just going to tape these guys together to make life a little bit easier. I'm going to start with my dog. I'm going to do him in brown so he's got some nice contrast to everything around him. So he'll hopefully show up more. Okay, let me grab some other colors. All right, so I'm gonna do the butterfly in purple. Maybe do his body in green, which I did not grab. His nose in black. Grabbed. I'm gonna do his eyes in blue. Body in green, because this is kind of a whimsical piece, so I'm going whimsical. And we're gonna make that a tongue in pink. All right, now for the flowers, I am going to do a variety of colors. Like that I know I want to do. And let's go with the same purple as the butterfly. And what I'm just going to do is scribble this in. Let's get this flower in first. Let's do that one in a bright yellow. Now I'm probably going to go back in and do pen and ink over it to bring out the details in the flowers, so that this is just me drawing in where the flowers are going to go. Now I can keep going with the purple down this side. And fill in around, I think those are more petals. I think looking at this, the petals were gonna go more like that. And another round there. All right. I think I'm gonna do all of those in this purple. So let's. Got another one of these guys down here. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go with yellow on this one too. And I'm just gonna go around and sketch in all of the flowers and leaves. So I got that guy. Let's see, what should we do? You should be. Just gonna add a little bit of color to the petals so that I have pigment with which to watercolor with. And there's part of me that's wondering if I shouldn't just work on this in small sections with the water so that I don't have to then try and figure out and remember which colored pencil I use for each one, because I haven't like swatched these colored pencil, or not color, watercolor pencils out yet. So part of me thinks maybe I should just do this section. And I'm not necessarily going for natural colors. I'm just going for it. I want this to be bright and colorful and whimsical, which normally I do the dog in a whimsical color, but because I'm doing so much color around him, I don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. I haven't really played with these pencils, watercolor pencils yet. I've used one or two for sketching. Something that I was later gonna watercolor, but I haven't really played with them as, you know, my means of painting a watercolor. Okay, so I have changed my mind. What I've done is pulled out a bunch of colors that I'm just gonna use so that I don't have to worry about going back and forth. And we're just gonna go ahead and get everybody done here. The real problem is like I can't tell the color of the pencil without the overhead light on. And I can't see with the light box with it on. So there's gonna be a lot of switching lights on and off, and it's getting ready to storm out. And I will tell you about my fun and excitement because I took a break to have some lunch, and I get done making my lunch and my one dog wants to go out, and I go to let him out and I realize my other dog's gone. And I can hear him. He's out barking. So I had to throw on some clothes because I hadn't changed out of my pajamas yet and hunt him down. So yeah, that was our fun and excitement. At least he was only a few houses down because it was stinking hot out. And now my one dog is sitting on the floor and the other dog's afraid of him and won't go all the way into the room because he's sitting in a spot that's making poor Powell twitchy. Yeah, Bert's my problem child and he's the one who escaped, and he is currently sitting in a spot that's making Powell, like, I can't go into the room all the way. I'm probably gonna have to take a break here so that I can get him situated. Because yeah, my dog's special. Yeah, he insisted that I needed to help him get up on the couch because the other dog's in the room and is scary. So I help him get up on the couch. And he does this thing where he'll put his paws up and then expect me to boost his back end up, but then he'll growl at me because I've boosted his back end up. I'm like, really, dude? Such a rude little dog. Okay, so the flowers are all drawn in. You may have noticed I didn't do the centers on a lot of them. That's because a lot of them, I think I'm probably gonna go with like yellow for the center, and I was afraid it was gonna get a little muddy. Oh, I need to go back and do that guy with the pale gray. Hold on, let me do that. And now it is time to paint. So let's take it off this piece. Set the light box to the side. So one tip I have for how I created my little floral background is I started out with doing it on another sheet and started drawing the flowers and realized I didn't want to have to redraw all the flowers every single time I wanted to repeat them, because I'm very fussy about when I draw flowers. It takes me a good long while. So what I did was drew them all out and then used the light box to sketch them in and like turn them and shift them. So like this flower is this guy flipped over and it's the same one here. And so it made creating this a lot easier than it would have been if I was redrawing the flowers each time, which would have driven me crazy. Because yeah, I get a little fiddly with doodled flowers, which is not what doodled flowers are supposed to be, but yeah, I get fiddly. So let's set this out of the way. Let's bring over a board, the picture. Let's grab water. And I did kind of do a little chart to help me out with the colors. Let's grab a paintbrush and start painting. And I'm gonna go easy on the edges of the flowers so I can try and keep as much of the detail of the sketch in. And I also only scribbled a little ink on the middle of the flowers so that I could have some variation in the color by blending it out. And we're gonna see how this goes because I have not played with these pencils all that much. So yeah. Now, I'm not going to do the blue flower or the orange flower because if I do that, the two colors are going to bleed into each other. So I'm going to move to somewhere else while the pink one dries. All right, now that the pink one's dry at the bottom, I'm going to come back in and do these guys. Line here. Let's see if I can lift that out. Yep, I did, and I lifted way more than I wanted because I lifted over here. Let's leave that guy alone. And dog who wants in. All right, it's done. Actually, before I call it done, well, no, it's not done. I'm gonna do some water on the back to help flatten it out. Because next we're gonna do pen work over top to bring back in our details on our flowers and on the dog and all that good stuff. So let's try this and then we can move on to final steps and then be done with this because this is taking forever. The next time I decide 60 gazillion flowers is a good idea, somebody needs to smack me upside my head. Okay, it's completely dry, which is what we need to do the pen work, right? No, there's some damp spots left. All right, I'm gonna set this aside for a minute, let it dry completely, and get what I need to do the pen work. All right, I can still see the lines through, so that's good. I'm gonna use my Copic multi-liners, and I'm gonna go with 0.3 for the flowers, and I'm gonna do something thicker for the dog. I am just gonna go through and add in all the details that got lost. I'm gonna come in with my thicker one, the 0.8, to do around the dog, because I think it'll just make doing the flowers around his head easier. And I'm just using this so that I'm not resting my arm on the piece. Let's try it. Now for the scribbly flowers, whoop, I am going to come in with a thinner pen. Make sure we're still lined up. I feel like I need more tape on this. There. Oh, that is not the right one. Good thing I checked. I'm in with a 0.1, which is smaller, and just kind of do little squiggles. To give the impression of individual flowers. All right, we're done. I had been thinking I might do a light blue wash to fill in all of that empty space, but I think I'm gonna call this one done. Let me put my name on the bottom before I forget. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.